All right, guys. So this is gonna be part 10 of it because I couldn't find one. One ended up being at the top, so one's gonna be the last one. So this is part 10. Uh, this one's called Smoke. I'm gonna go slow real quick so you guys can pause and read yourself if you want to. Otherwise, I'm gonna read it to you, and I'm not the best reader. Mispronounce words and shit. But if you want me to read it to you, I'm getting ready to right after we get through the whole thing here. Okay, so now I'm going to read it. On Friday, April 15th, the day after Sean's death, rumors were flying. Neighbors had witnessed the chaos on the street, and the community was craving information. Some teachers at the school had caught wind of what happened, and the school notified the sheriff's office. The sheriff's office sent a representative to the high school to assure the teachers and staff that there was no threat to the community. Damage control was in full effect less than 24 hours after Sean's death. Over the course of the weekend, things continued to get more and more strange for the family. Meals and flowers from close neighbors were delivered, but the school hadn't notified classmates of what had transpired. The family received inquiries, worried phone calls, and messages on social media from people who had heard something had happened, but didn't know what. Community members who called the sheriff's office were again told there was nothing to be concerned about. Ramona, uh, Ramona framed her favorite picture of Sean and stood it at the base of the tree in front of the house with a candle. Neighbors began leaving flowers, trinkets, and messages for Sean. It was Easter weekend. Local churches and suicide grief groups reached out to offer condolences and support. Even though Ramona and Jarrett stated that they didn't believe that this was a suicide, they were concerned consistently meet with resistance. Holy crap! They were told that it was typical of family to be in denial after losing a loved one to the S word, and that it might take years to make peace with it. No one was listening. Everyone seemed to know better than them, and no one was taking the time to actually listen to what the family was saying. It was madness. Like, this doesn't, yeah, I wouldn't say this is the kid didn't do the S word to himself. Somebody else did it to him. An investigator had delivered Sean's glasses on Monday and gave them to the family. They were broken and missing a lens. It was a well intended it was a well intended gesture, as though they thought they would want to bury them with Sean. However, the family could not understand why the glasses weren't being treated as evidence. The investigator did not know where the lens was. There wasn't in a bag. They weren't tagged. Later, the parents asked if they had been tested, and they were told, of course they were. I doubt it. These cops have been like, go read all these guys. Like, go read all these. Go find him on this. This is the name of the site on Facebook, and read all these because you're gonna think these cops suck, and they do. If Gessler's had okay, we already read that, right? Okay, yes. On Monday, April 18th, a representative from the sheriff's office visited Sean's class and spoke to his classmates about the S and informed them of Sean's passing. On Tuesday, April 19th, after all of Sean's class had been addressed, the school sent an automated voice message from the principal out to each family explaining that Sean had passed away and that grief counseling was available to all students. They also sent an email that echoed the message in the voicemail. After this went out, Ramona received a single phone call that had all of Sean's core sixth grade teachers on the line at the same time. They could not believe Sean would himself and expressed their doubt. They stated that Sean had submitted his homework that afternoon, had walked with them to class, and was in great mood that day. They were shocked. Yeah, this kid actually done his homework before this happened. Like, no kid would do that. None. I don't give a crap who they are. Some of Sean's peers were interviewed, and Ramona and Jared requested they talk to the best friend. Parents would later call Ramona and tell her that the line of questioning made them uncomfortable and that it made them feel like they were only looking at S as a manner of death. This was not the Sean they knew and the kids knew. Nothing made sense. Over the weekend, Ramona and Jarrett visited neighbors and asked if they had seen anything on their security cameras. They asked if the investigators had requested the footage, and they said that they hadn't. They asked them to please watch the recording for Thursday and to let them know if they saw anything out of the norm in the area. It was odd that they were the ones canvassing the neighborhood, and they didn't understand why the investigators had not spoken to the neighbors yet. A few neighbors posted in the HOA social media group asking for videos, and if anyone had noticed anything. The page received a still screenshot from a house on Sandalwood with the landscaper's truck in front of Sean's house. Timestamp 4:36 p.m. Eastern on April 14th, 2022. This was 13 minutes before Maria got home. It was still shot. It was a still shot from a video, as you could see the recording minutes on the bottom of the picture. They asked the neighbor for the full video several times, but were never given the footage. Well, that's crazy. So the neighbors are kind of weird and maybe done something because there was two sets of neighbors, guys, cutting grass on both sides of the property. Like there was neighbors on this side of the property who were cutting the grass, and the neighbors on this side of the property was cutting grass. And the weird thing about this neighborhood, the fences were only 3 foot tall. That's all they were allowed to be, 3 foot tall. So these neighbors, as they're cutting the grass, can literally see into their backyard easily. It didn't see nothing. It just doesn't make any sense. Ramona and Jarrett had several calls with the medical examiner regarding her findings. When a forensic pathologist is assigned to a case, she utilizes the body, any evidence she is presented with from the investigators, and theorizes how the deceased passed based on combinations of facts and opinion. In fact, the lead investigator was listed on the autopsy as present during the exam, as well as the person who brought evidence to me from measurements, etc. The me was given the string that had been found on Sean's neck, the article of clothing on his body, and the belt that had tied his arms down. She sent off several samples for testing and also completed a perk test. Once the me was done with the body, it was released and driven down to Southern Pines, North Carolina for the funeral. The family packed up their SUV and drove home to North Carolina, unable to divert their eyes from the one empty seat in the back, Sean's. So this is the picture that they're talking about. I can't get it to zoom in, but that's the picture they're talking about. And they wouldn't give them any more video of it, which is crazy. Just give them the damn video.